Hello and welcome to another fast Descendant video. So today I want to cover my updated build guides for the Thunder Cage, Enduring Legacy and Secret Garden. Now in my opinion these are the best three ultimate weapons in the game. You should consider getting these as soon as you can. I often see people on Reddit asking what guns they should build now that they've finished the campaign and things like that. I think these are the top three. I also got a comment from a viewer who wanted me to cover the different builds for the Enduring Legacy. So I wanted to cover that here because I use three different builds for the Enduring Legacy depending on the situation. So without wasting any time, because I've already covered these previously in separate videos, I'll try and make it quick. So first up, the gun that everyone should have is the Thunder Cage. Now the Thunder Cage is an SMG that is very easy to get in the game. So has a decent firearm attack at 11,000, very good fire rate, among the best in the game. 26 rounds per magazine, which is not a lot, but you can improve it. Great reload time at 1.4. Fantastic crit rate for an SMG, 20%. Critical hit rate is also decent at 2 times. Attribute isn't great, weak point isn't great, accuracy is fine, range is okay. Now the unique ability is where this gun shines. So basically when you hit an enemy, it causes an explosion, and the enemy, when they die, they cause an explosion and they spread out damage to nearby enemies. It's very effective and it has a 100% trigger rate. So I'll just quickly show you what that looks like. So I'll shoot the guy in the middle, and notice when they die they'll cause an explosion and damage the nearby enemies as well. In fact, they do so much damage they also kill the nearby enemies, even though I was only shooting at the guy in the middle. So that is the ultimate ability, unique ability I should say, and I think it is one of the best unique abilities. Okay, now a quick look at the rolls here. Because it doesn't have a very high weak point or attribute, go for the standard stuff, which is firearm attack, firearm hit rate, firearm critical damage, and the fourth option you can see here, I have bonus attack versus Legion of Darkness. That's because I ran out of fine adjustment access, but you could go for something like more ammo in the magazine, which will give you a few more bullets, but everything will be handy here. So if you look here with my Frena, I have 48 in total. Now this is due to some mods and also the Slayer set, which gives you 9% extra bullets. So here's a quick look at the build that I'm using currently. So we have rifling reinforcement as always, along with action and reaction. These two mods are common. Fire rate increases the fire rate even further. So these increase the firearm attack, this increases the fire rate. These are common across almost all guns. Then you have expand weapon charge. This increases the ammo in the gun. Support, concentrate support ammo also increases the ammo by 30% and also gives you a little more crit hit damage. Then we have better insight to give you critical hit rate improvement. Better concentration, this gives you critical hit rate damage, which is very good at 74. And then we have insight focus, which gives you more crit hit rate, more crit hit damage. And then I'm using sweeping squad here, which gives you 10.6% firearm attack increase, and you get 3 stacks when you defeat an enemy. So you shoot one enemy, you get 10% increase, shoot another enemy, you get 3 stacks. So all round very good build, very good especially for clearing outposts and things like that. So I'll show you the final numbers here. Over here, 22,000 firearm attack, 888 fire rate, 48 bullets in the magazine. Reload time is a little slower because one of the mods does that, but it's not too bad because we have increased the capacity here quite a lot from the standard 26 to 48, close to double. Critical hit rate is 33.36%, which is 1 in 3 bullets will be a crit, and then our critical hit damage is almost 7 times. So this times 7 is what will be the critical hit damage, with minus the normal defense and other things that the enemies would have, but 7 times is fantastic. Like if you get anything more than 5, it's great. And the rest of it we did not touch because those were not particularly great. For example, attribute status effect trigger rate, this is only 4%, so I did not bother investing into an element mod here, but you can choose that if you, let's say, get a roll. But if you have such a low trigger rate to begin with, it will not help you that much. Okay, so that is the build for Thunder Cage. Here's another look. DPS 576. It's not that important DPS, but it just gives you a general idea. You can see here our reload is 1.8, which is again not terrible. As long as it's under 2 seconds, I'm happy. And we have more ammo. So this I think is great for the Thunder Cage. So this is my updated Thunder Cage build. It's very easy to get. You can farm the parts in normal missions. So if you go into the weapon here and look at Thunder Cage, you don't even need extra materials to research. So this is something you should get as soon as you can. In fact, when you get to Sterile Land, all these are from normal difficulty missions on Sterile Land. So try to do this when you get to this map. This is, I think, the third map that you unlock during the campaign. Once you get this, even if it's a little annoying to farm like 5 sets, try to do this because this will make the rest of the game very, very easy for you. Okay, so that is the Thunder Cage done. Now let's move on to the second gun that I think everyone should consider, and that is, of course, the Enduring Legacy. Now, the Enduring Legacy, let's do it this way. So Enduring Legacy is a ultimate tier machine gun. Lots of ammo, high damage, has a decent attribute status trigger rate. So let's have a look at the weapon specs, and then I'll show you the different builds I've come up with for this gun. So firearm attack base is 13,000. Fire rate is 571, which is decent for a LMG. Rounds per magazine is 115. Reload time is 2.7. Of course, this is a big machine gun, so a lot of ammo. Firearm critical hit rate is 20%, and critical hit rate is 2.3, among the best I've seen in all the guns here. So 20 and 2.3. So those are the strengths of this. So we are going to use this to build the gun. Attribute status trigger rate goes up a bit because of the unique ability. 10.76 is okay. It might not seem a lot, but because it's a big gun with a big magazine, 10%, almost 11%, you have 200 bullets. You are hitting 1 in 10. So even with a full magazine, you'll hit like 20, 25 times, and that will be very good. And now weak point isn't the best, and accuracy, you don't have to worry too much about this. Now the unique ability, what it does is basically it increases the status effect trigger rate depending on the element, and it applies a quenching to the target damage. So quenching here is basically 50 stacks, and they reduce the fire resistance, and you do more firearm attack with the enemies that are burning. So by that logic, we should be using the fire element with this to get the full advantage, because this second part of the ultimate unique ability is something that works well with fire. So that will be something we'll consider in our builds. Now looking at the rolls here, what I've done is I've made this with the intention to use it against the void bosses. So I have bonus firearm attack versus Colossus. So this gives you a flat 3,172 damage against the Colossus. Most people will use this against the Colossus, so I think that is a good roll to have. And then I went with the standard firearm attack increase, firearm critical hit rate increase, firearm critical hit damage increase. Just good damage overall. Now on to the different builds here. What I have is one build, like let's say these two builds here, Fit Fire and Boss build. These are both basically boss builds. And then I have a more accurate build, which is mostly for normal field missions if you still want to use it out in the battlefield and stuff like that, not bosses. Let's say the reactor bosses or the bosses at the end of the 400% dungeons, then you can use the more accurate build. I'll show you that. So this first build, what I've done is standard action reaction, rifling reinforcement, fire rate, standard mods here. Then we have concentration damage, critical hit damage, critical hit rate. So again, very standard. Ammo increase, again standard again. And I'm using the concentrate support ammo because this gives you a little more critical hit damage. Okay, then we have aiming compensation, just to add more critical hit damage here on the second option here, and you get a bit more accuracy. Not that important accuracy, you can put something else, but I wanted to add a little more crit damage. And then concentration priority, this adds 120% crit damage. This is a must-have. This only results in increasing the reload time quite a bit. So you can add a reload mod if you want, but we have put so much ammo that it doesn't matter. And then finally, we have the sharp precision shot. So what this does is fire rate goes down, but then when you start pulling, when you pull the trigger, when you hold the trigger, fire rate goes up plus 4%, and recoil goes down. Firearm attack goes up every half a second for 10 stacks. So the gun just shoots faster. It'll be easier to empty the big magazine as well, and the gun basically sinks. That's what I like. So let me just show you what that looks like. So if we have here, let's make sure they are level 100. Okay, so on the around the shoulder of what's the name, Frena, you'll see the stacks. You'll see 10 stacks, sort of like a bullseye. You'll see. So you can see stacks are starting to go up. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 stacks. Now it's shooting very fast, and we have so much ammo. We have to get through them. It will just work better. So much ammo. Look how slow it is to reload. Okay, so this is the boss build. Now the alternate build is to use the fire enhancement. So I've switched this sharp precision for fire enhancement, so we take advantage of the 10% attribute rate and also the unique ability, which helps against which adds more damage if enemies are burning. And to add burning, we have to add a fire mode. Okay, and I've also switched this for mental focus. Instead of the aim thing here, I've put mental focus here. Mental focus, similar to the sharp precision shot, which has 10 stacks, this one has 150 stacks. Okay, and this gun has 200 plus ammo in the magazine, so we can take advantage because most guns will not go to 150. But when you reload, you lose the stack. So this is one of the few guns where you can build up the damage as you keep shooting and increasing. So I'll just quickly show that as well. So this time we have, so notice the damage number will keep going up. Okay, so 214, 237, 252, we up to 60, 70, 290, 312, 120 stacks. Now we are at 150 stacks. Now we are doing 378,000 damage, and it'll stay at that top number until you reload like this, and then it'll be back down, and the number you're getting is 212,000. So it went from 212,000 all the way up to 378,000. So huge increase, and you just have to hold. And this is one of the few guns where you can actually do that. So these two are like the most popular mods for special mods, I should say, for the Enduring Legacy. So you can go with this build, take advantage of the unique ability and the firing thing. Let me see if we can spot the fire burning thing here. You can see it says quenching. Notice it says quenching. So when you're quenching, they'll take a little more damage when they're burning. So it is only 10%, but you can see here it seems to trigger fairly regularly. So this is taking advantage of the unique, taking advantage of the big magazine, and the rest of them are common, same mods. And then our final build, we go back to the aiming again, so improve the aiming, handling, and we add inside focus. So more crit hit rate, more crit hit damage. So the final numbers that we have over here, let's start with the boss build here first. So if we look at this one here, this will stay the same, 601 fire rate, ammo is here, 30% crit hit rate, and 8 times the crit hit damage. So when you crit, it'll be 8 times the damage of this number. Okay, so this is what we have over here with the boss build. If we look at the fire build, same, little lower here because we don't have the extra crit damage with the aiming mod that we used. So it's 7.86, which is still pretty high. And then our third build, the accurate build, this is the one I like to use in the field. You can get 33% critical hit rate and more than 8.16 crit hit damage. So it's just a variation with these two things. Otherwise, it's the same here. This is the more accurate one, I think. So yeah, these three builds here, you can have a look here. This I would take with the boss because our rolls on the gun also has more damage against the Colossus. So this will work nicely. You can use this one just as easily, but not all bosses will be weak to fire. But it shouldn't matter because this one just has so much damage that it'll help you anyway. And then the accurate one, you can put the fire here, But again, normal enemies won't last much long with this gun, so you don't have to put so much extra damage in here. This will be handy, big magazine, and you can just kill the whole lot of enemies quite easily. So this is my build for the Enduring Legacy, or I should say 3 different builds. And then finally, the third gun that I would recommend you should get is the Secret Garden. Now the Secret Garden is a little harder to get than these 2 guns. Enduring Legacy is also not that easy. I mean, Thunder Cage is very easy. Enduring Legacy, you have to build the different parts. So Enduring Legacy, where is Enduring Legacy? So you do have to collect all these materials and farm them, and some of them can be a little annoying, but it's not bad. I think I only had a little difficulty with Enduring Legacy Blueprint, but you can see here I have 8 more spare right now. So I must have been, fighting some boss recently. And yeah, you can get the rest quite easily. Get 1 copy and then try to make 5 copies to get more strength in the unique ability. Also remember, with the start of season 2, they are making some changes, so you may not need the unique ability as much. So we'll see how that change works out. But yeah, it's not as difficult to get. And then let's move on to the Secret Garden. Now this one is a little more tricky to get. That is why I say this is the third gun that you should consider, because one of the parts for the Secret Garden, I think the nanotube, I've seen a lot of people say that it's very hard to get. Now I don't recall struggling too much with the nanotube. Where do we get this from? Moonlight Lake, Agna Desert. Honestly, I don't see it being particularly difficult here. These two, 10%, 10%, 10%. Okay, I see why they're saying it's difficult. It's only got a 10%. I don't recall it being difficult when I was farming for this, so that's why my experience might be different, but I've heard a lot of people say that the nanotube is hard. Anyway, this should be the third gun that you should build, and this might actually be overall the best of the 3, especially for Freyna. So let's have a quick look at the stats here. So what we have is 10,000 base attack, 480 fire rate, a little slower, but the tactical rifles are a little slower. 48 rounds per magazine, again not as high, but is still decent. 1.6, again normal. This is where the gun shines. 50% crit hit rate, and the normal critical hit damage is also 2.25, so a little lower than the Enduring Legacy, but still 2.25. And the attribute isn't great. Weak point is better. Accuracy is very decent here. So what you can build with this gun, especially in terms of the role, is go with the crit hit, crit rate, and the firearm attack, because you'll get the most benefit on this gun. Pretty much most of the shots will be critting. And then I got a toxic attack roll here, so that works well. Attribute isn't the best, but we got it here, so why not? And what I also did here in the build here is to add the toxic conductor to take advantage of that toxic roll to give us 26% more damage when hitting enemies inflicted with poison. So the gun roll will be adding some poison, and this will be acting on that poison, so give us more damage. The rest of it, as you can expect, is very similar. Action reaction, rifling reinforcement, these are the standard modes to increase the firearm attack. Fire rate goes up with the fire rate up mod. Better insight, better concentration, critical hit damage, critical hit rate. And then we have another one for critical hit damage. This time you're getting 47% instead of the 120 that we were getting on the general rounds gun. Then we have 2 mods for ammo, so expand, weapon charge, and concentrate support ammo. I often use the concentrate because we have a second perk of critical hit damage increase. And then finally insight stabilizer, just to reduce the recoil a little bit and add critical hit rate. You can swap this out for something else. You can add the weak point aiming, for example. You'll get some more. You can add some more weak point damage if you want, but it's not that important. I'm just using it as a normal smooth gun that has good fire, good crit, best crits probably. And so what we end up with is the numbers here. We have 75% crit rate. Insane. So 3 out of 4 will crit, and then you'll do a 5 times damage on the enemy. Now this is because the concentration priority doesn't give us as much as it does on the general rounds. this one is only giving 37, over there it's giving 120. So that's why this number won't go as high. And then the rest of it is pretty standard here, as you can see. Now, one more thing I want to mention is oh yeah, I forgot the unique ability. I was thinking I forgot something. So the unique ability, when using a dimension scale, recovers custom resource with a set chance. So some Descendants, they have a custom resource, like for example, Bunny has that electric thing, two bars at the bottom. So this I think is used with someone like Ajax would use it. When using a tech skill, grants unique ability pest control. So tech skills, Descendants that have tech skills, and when you're using tech skills, you'll get the pest control ability, and then pest control gives you can use 3 stacks, 10 seconds each, and it increases the firearm stack. So Freyna here synergizes well with this gun simply because all her abilities, well, 3 out of 4 abilities are tech, and the 4th one is dimension. So you could technically say all of them work, but although we are not getting a custom resource. So this is toxic and tech, toxic and tech, toxic and tech. So let's see. Once again, keep an eye on the shoulder. You should see the pest control thing. You can see it says here pest control. Okay, pest control, 2 stacks, 3 stacks. Okay, so 3 stacks of pest control here. So as you can see, very easy to trigger those 3 stacks with Freyna. So that's why this gun goes very well with Freyna. You can also use it with Viesa, whose 4th ability is tech, and there are 1 or 2 other Descendants. I think Lepik also has tech abilities. So this gun you could potentially build for all 3 Descendants. So yeah, so that is the build for the. I feel like there's one other thing I wanted to mention regarding this, but yeah, it slipped my mind right now. So yeah, so this is your build for the Secret Garden. Again, does great damage. Has a lot of crits. Actually, let me show you the crits, how good the crits are. So orange number crit, as you know, white number normal damage. See, we only seem to be getting orange numbers here. Now, one more thing I forgot to mention. This is a tactical rifle, so sort of a burst gun. So what you need to do is make sure in the gameplay section, firing rate, change firing mode. If you have this off, it will be normal default burst rate. You'll have to fire, constantly click after every burst. So make sure you are on change firing mode on settings so that you can hold down the trigger. Now the mods that give you the holding down the trigger button and the stacks, they will not work with the tactical rifles. Okay, let me see if I can show that to you. So something like sharp precision shot. Let's say we remove this and we put this. Oh, we can't put this. Okay, let me put this there. I've put a lot of things here. So you see that precision shot, sharp precision, it's not building up. We are getting one, but then it just disappears, then it starts again. So even though this is like in the firing mode, it's not building up because we are not technically holding down the trigger as we do with like something like the Enduring Legacy. So that's why these mods that give you extra because of holding down the trigger, they'll not work with the tactical rifle. So already forgot what was here. Fire. Okay, so those are the 3 builds for the 3 best ultimate guns in my opinion. There are some honorable mentions. You could say the Nazister's Devotion is another gun. The hand cannon that I mentioned in my previous video, that is surprisingly easy to get as well, so you should consider building that as well. So yeah, before I go, let me just show you the builds again. Thunder Cage, 576 DPS. These are the numbers here. Very standard. Again, we build for crit again here. So increase the firearm attack, ammo increase, crit hit, crit damage, more crit damage, more crit hit, crit damage, and then sweeping sword. You can swap it for something else if you want. Sharp precision will also work, but it already has a very high fire rate. so you don't need to do that here. And during legacy, again, multiple builds here. Boss build, you can go with sharp precision shot, or you can put the mental focus instead. Take advantage of the unique ability with the fire enhancement mod. Fire works the best because the unique ability gives you more damage. If the enemy is burning, you can cause burning with fire. The rolls, you can add a little more attribute perhaps, or if you get the fire attack here, you can use something like what is the fire, something, heat incinerator. So you can put this here if you get the fire roll on the outside, so you can put this and get more benefit. So this is the fire build. And then for out in the field missions, I've added aiming and some more crit hit rate just to make it work better. You can add some sort of another second reroll mode, reload mode, to reload it faster because it has such a big magazine. Because most enemies out in the open world are not that difficult, so you probably will benefit if you reload it faster. So yeah, ended up making the video longer than I wanted, but hopefully this was useful. All three guns are fantastic. Everyone should have them, in my opinion, and have them fully enhanced. And yeah, this should make endgame quite easy. You don't really need to build anything else if you have these three guns. But yeah, thank you for watching. Hopefully this was useful. And if you need anything else, let me know in the comments. I'll try my best based on how far I am in the game. But at the moment, I've put so much time I can cover most things.